From the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio, this is Marquette Now.
Good evening, I'm Emily Sacco.
And I'm Katie Munson. Welcome to Marquette Now.
Coming up, graduation details announced.
New security protocols.
The political scene in full swing.
And later, going the distance for a cause.
But before all that, today marks the 50th anniversary of Title IX.
In celebration, the Marquette Institute for Women's Leadership led a panel with various campus leaders discussing the impact that Title IX has and the impact to come.
Title IX changed my life. We talked about how it sometimes goes directly to the athletics world, but the word opportunity comes to my mind, and just as a youth and a young girl to be able to try any sport I wanted to, or my parents put me in.
Many students were in attendance, and plenty of them spoke of the significance that Title IX has on them.
Because for me, I'm really interested in becoming more with women's leadership, because I realize among a lot of my friends, they lack the confidence to go and pursue leadership.
Marquette University announces that graduation will take place at Pfizer Forum.
Undergraduate students will fill the seats of the familiar Bucks and Marquette Stadium on May 20th.
Well, I've spent a lot of time at Pfizer Forum over these past 4 years, so I've definitely a lot of great memories there, and it's awesome my family gets to go in there and experience it too. It's pretty exciting.
I think it's really cool. I mean, I didn't have a graduation ceremony yet for my undergrad just because of COVID. So I think it'll be exciting just to graduate with a ceremony, let alone in Pfizer. That's pretty sick.
It's out with the old and in with the new. The new Level Wellness Center is coming to campus in 2024. The center will feature state-of-the-art equipment, ceiling-to-floor windows, and will have plenty of sustainability features.
Marquette students will now have to scan in their Marquette IDs to access their residence halls.
TJ Dysart takes us behind closed doors.
Most Marquette students are familiar with the beeping sound that takes place when an MUID makes contact with a sensor in the desks of residence halls.
Thank you.
But this year, students will have to hear the beeping sound in order to gain access to their residence halls as well. After a successful pilot launched by MUPD last year, all residence halls will be now locked 24 hours, 7 days a week. Students will need to use their Marquette ID to access all residence halls.
I guess it's a good safety idea, because then random people can't walk into our dorms, and we are in the city.
A city where Marquette students welcome community members with open arms while still maintaining privacy behind closed doors.
Key for 30? Okay.
For student desk receptionists, the new program protects them just as much as any other student.
Obviously, no one wants to be in the front lines when you think about danger or being the one that has to because I'm protecting the upstairs by who I give access to upstairs.
But just like any other rule, it might take a little getting used to.
I do think it definitely helps with safety, but sometimes it does get annoying for sure. I am very fond of losing my ID, and not losing it, but just forgetting it in my room or whatnot.
I'm TJ Dysart, Marquette Wire News.
Election Day, November 8th, is quickly approaching.
A Marquette Law School poll finds close races in Wisconsin for governor and the U.S. Senate.
Republican Senator Ron Johnson has a 1-point lead over Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes in the race for senator.
Democratic Governor Tony Evers is favored by 3 points over Republican candidate Tim Michels.
Students can register to vote in the AMU next week, Monday through Wednesday from noon to 2 p.m.
We co-create the world that we live in, and so this is your opportunity to be a part of creating the world that you live in.
We do have students from out of state that are trying to decide whether they want to vote at home in their home state or whether they want to vote in Wisconsin. The great thing about Wisconsin is that while we are doing voter registration today, Wisconsin is a state that has same-day voter registration, so if students miss the opportunity to vote in their home state, they do have the opportunity on the day of the election, again, November 8th, to make that decision to register to vote.
Lately, cracked sidewalks and detours are common on campus. Marquette Now's Timothy Lateau lays out the timeline of the construction project for us.
Cars, cones, concrete construction, and BRT.
We got yelled at because it was just crazy because, people don't know how to turn. We don't know where to walk. We can't step right there. We can't step right there. So yeah, it disrupted me a little bit, but I'm kind of happy to see how it turns out.
What's being turned out is a bus rapid transit system, or BRT, along a 9-mile route that includes Marquette's campus on Wisconsin Avenue, designed to cut commute times and be more environmentally friendly with fully electric buses.
BRT is this kind of happy medium between bus transit and light rail. It's much more affordable than light rail is, much less cost intensive for the upfront infrastructure costs.
Behind me is one of those newly constructed bus stops at 12th and Wisconsin. Now the bus will pull directly up to the stop without having to navigate around any parked cars. Those parked cars will occupy the same lane that I'm currently standing in as the bus stop.
We saw this as a way of taking what's already kind of our most robust section of service in the corridor and laying these amenities to it so that folks can get to those jobs, places of learning, medical facilities quicker and faster.
It has interrupted my pathway, where I cross the street and everything, but in the end, I feel like it will be worth it.
There are still plenty of signs of construction around me, but all that will be gone come November when the road is back open to 2 lanes. However, in June 2023, that's when the BRT system will take effect and automobile traffic will be consolidated to 1 lane.
It's kind of more stressful because I know it used to be a bus stop right there, and that used to be an easy commute to get around campus, but now we get dropped off, all the way blocks away, 2-3 blocks away.
Nobody likes being in the midst of construction, but you know what? You get through one season of construction and then it's going to last the next 40 years. And I think we're going to leave it in a much better spot than when we arrived.
Arriving to the same destination in a new way. I'm Timothy Lateau, Marquette Wire News.
Mark your calendars for the updated date for new student convocation. This postponed date comes after a demonstration at the scheduled convocation, August 25th, by the Black Student Union, Marquette University Student Government, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People at Marquette, and the Latin American Student Organization. The new date is in part of this weekend's Family Weekend festivities.
Marquette maintains its status. The U.S. News & World Report Best College Rankings keeps Marquette at 83, tied with 5 other institutions. Meanwhile, undergraduate teaching jumps up to number 12 from last year's 58. The university is noted across other program-specific rankings from the report. And the Marquette University Police Department's President's Task Force on Community Safety is implementing the new Rave Alert platform.
This new platform will allow parents and guardians to receive safety alerts as a text message that the students, faculty, and staff at Marquette already receive. Guardians can download the app and use their student's MUID number to receive these alerts.
Better about my safety, especially knowing what's going on on campus, especially if something does happen.
MUPD Chief Edith Hudson says the Rave Alert, quote, gives parents and guardians the option to choose what's best for them, and it gives the university additional crisis response capabilities.
All right, welcome. Now let's take a look at the current weather. Now the 21st night of September never was a cloudy day. Fortunately today we did have some clouds. Now let's take a look here. 66 degrees in Milwaukee. Humidity around 49%, nothing too bad, pretty standard for what it's been. No precipitation predicted for now, but winds west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Now after the break, I'll be back with more weather. We also have plenty more coming up. New wardrobes from old clothes and later fundraising in a fun way. We'll be right back.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Welcome back to Marquette Now. I'm Emily Sacco.
And I'm Katie Munson.
There's a new way to rehome old clothes.
Rewear It MU is a new campus organization that holds clothing swaps for free.
There's no limit on the number of items students can bring or take, and anyone can participate.
Inspiration for the sustainable alternative comes from a student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
None of these clothes were being worn before, and so now they're going to a new home where they're going to be loved and worn. So it's taking waste out of a landfill and also showing people there are alternatives to buying new.
Over the summer, we went to a few of her swaps, and we just asked how we can get, I guess, the swap started at Marquette, and from there, this took off.
Dance, song, and other festivities will light up the second floor of the AMU on Saturday. The Center for Engagement and Inclusion with the Gamma Beta chapter of Sigma Lambda Beta hosts the annual Fiesta de Noche. This event celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month with cultural performances and food. The month recognizes Hispanic culture, history, and influence in the United States. It's celebrated from September 15th to October 15th.
A Welcome Back Bash has everything in the mix: a barbecue, live music, and inflatable games. Sorority and Fraternity Life hosts a back-to-back school bash for all Marquette students this past Sunday. After originally being rescheduled due to rain, the fun continues.
Most students walk to class, some run when they're late, but everyone hustles for a cause last Saturday.
Marquette Now's Timothy Leteau brings us to the starting line.
Part campus, part race route Saturday morning for Briggs & L's 45th Run and Walk for Children's Wisconsin.
That's the purpose of this whole event, to bring the families and the community together and rally in support of Children's Wisconsin. So you can't really do that virtually.
Virtual for the last couple of years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, fundraising is the name of the game.
It really helps us do all the things that we do at Children's Wisconsin that isn't covered by insurance, isn't covered by Medicaid. It supports our research, our advocacy, pet therapy, art therapy, all the things that make us special and allow kids to be kids when they're under our care.
Celebrities are among the attendants, like the basketball teams and their coaches, Shaka Smart and Megan Duffy. Mascots Iggy and Bango and Disney princesses are in the mix too. Famous faces, new faces.
I was a 70s kid.
And returning ones.
Morning.
Peggy has just as deep roots to Children's Wisconsin as the Briggs & L's Run and Walk does to Marquette and its event founder, Coach Al McGuire.
I'm actually a Marquette grad. I graduated from the College of Nursing, and my first job out of college was at Humphrey Hall when it was the Children's Hospital. So I've been involved with children's since my early days, but came back to be the CEO 13 years ago. So this is my 14th Al's Run.
14 seems like a small number to Emil Nightingale.
Well, didn't plan on being in 45 events, but once I started and got up to around 15 or so, then it's like, oh no, I'm going to do it every year now from here on in, no matter what.
No matter what speed.
This year I'm walking it.
Emil is there. And so is his shirt with Hallowed Ink, signed by Al McGuire himself.
The first 10 years probably I wore this shirt all the time because this is the first shirt I ever had that had some kind of athletic thing. Because you didn't have that like you do now.
What you do have now is 8,000 people, 8,000 meters in one cause for 45 years running. I'm Timothy Leteau, Marquette Wire News.
It looks like they had a little bit of clouds for that run. It looked like how it did earlier today.
Yeah, pretty fitting, as I said, for the 21st night of September. Never was a cloudy day, but, we see a little bit differently than how we've got it here. Now let's take a look here at our state overnight lows. You see up north here, Superior 42. You're starting to get pretty cold now, right? We're getting into fall. Over here on the western side, 45, 48. Down here in Milwaukee, we've actually got the nicest at 51. So looking pretty good here, pretty nice night, not getting too cold here. Now let's look at tomorrow's highs. 58, 55 up north, down south, and in the west we're going to get a little bit warmer. Some of your last times, maybe to go out to the beach, take a nice walk, starting to get into sweater weather a little bit, maybe some flannels, something nice. 61 in Milwaukee, so going to be some nice walking weather. Tonight, 51 degrees. Not going to get too chilly yet, but it will soon. 55% humidity, pretty on par with what we had today. Precipitation, none expected, and winds north-northwest at 15 miles per hour. Now let's take a look at tomorrow. 61 degrees, so flannel weather, sweater weather, whatever you want to call it. You might not even need one. 52% humidity, about on par with what we had today. No precipitation expected, and winds north-northwest at 15 miles per hour. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast here. We've got some pretty great weather coming up here. Saturday is going to be pretty warm, so that might really be your last chance to get out to the beach. If you've got something you want to do outside, go for a hike or something like that. Lows are not going to be too bad all week. Tuesday is going to get down to 44. That's when you're really going to start seeing this fall weather that we're talking about so much. Now that's it for weather, but stay with us because Tommy Gilchrist will be back with sports right after this.
To Sophia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. I'm Tommy Gilchrist with your Marquette Now Sports Report. The Milwaukee Cup is back and better than ever. Crosstown rival University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee made its return to Valley Fields last night. Looking to beat the Panthers for the first time since 2014, head coach Louis Bennett and his squad are ready to roll at Valley Fields. It's all Marquette in the first half as senior defender Alex Merzberger scores a hat-trick in 33 minutes to give the Golden Eagles a 3-1 lead at halftime. The Panthers quickly responded with their second goal of the night in the 53rd minute to cut the Golden Eagles' lead to 1. But Marquette finds momentum once again after Milwaukee's goalkeeper gets disqualified from the match and sophomore forward Abdul Karim Pari capitalizes on the penalty shot. The Golden Eagles score once again in the 68th minute thanks to a goal from junior forward Beto Soto. Marquette goes on to beat the Panthers 5-2 and bring home the Milwaukee Cup once again. The Golden Eagles are back in action Saturday when they travel to Xavier to begin Big East play. The women's soccer team also looks to close out non-conference play with a victory when they welcome Western Michigan in Valley Fields. Marquette's offense is clicking early with Maggie Starker scoring a goal 4 minutes into the match. The scoring does not stop there as Katie Gibson finds the back of the net in the 44th minute to give the Golden Eagles a 2-0 lead before the half. In the second half, Marquette continues to keep the pressure on Western Michigan, playing keep away for the remainder of the game. The Broncos are held to only 3 shots in the second half after shooting 7 in the first. Marquette pushes forward with the victory 2-0, advancing to 4-3-1 in the regular season. The Golden Eagles open up conference play tomorrow against the DePaul Blue Demons. Marquette's number 19 ranked women's volleyball team hopes to continue their hot streak when they welcome Illinois State on Sunday. Proving to be dominant, Aubrey Hamilton comes out swinging, earning kills from both the front row and back row attacks. She earned 15 kills on 25 swings. Carly Skrabak puts on a clinic with an excellent defensive showing. She tallies a total of 10 digs, shutting down a strong Illinois State offense. A key component is the pressure from the service line, with Marquette outscoring Illinois State 6-3 on service aces alone. A strong finish from Hamilton helps Marquette earn the clean sweep over the Redbirds. With this win, Marquette moves to 9-1, their best start since 2009. Big East play has already begun for the Golden Eagles as they are currently playing the DePaul Blue Demons, hoping to repeat as regular season conference champions. That's it for sports, but don't go anywhere. Marquette Now will be right back with our Down to the Wire segment.
Have you ever seen somebody treated unfairly because of the color of their skin?
Do you guys know what it means to have white privilege?
What is racism and what do you think about it?
Talk to young children about what racism is, giving them the language to understand it. They can be disruptors. They can shape and shift culture.
We may not always know the answer, but we'll try and help you learn.
You don't have to have all the answers, but that doesn't mean we can't start.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
What are you looking for?
Welcome back. I'm Emily Sacco.
And I'm Katie Munson. Marquette Wire Executive News Editor Julia Abuzahab joins us now for tonight's edition of Down to the Wire.
She's with Jerry Ahern to talk about being the new Director of Student Media and more.
Thanks, Emily and Katie. How are you doing tonight, Jerry?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. So what kind of made you come back here to Marquette? I know that you were a student here. So yeah, how are you liking your new position so far?
I'm loving it. I mean, it's been great to be back. As you mentioned, I was a student here a long time ago, back in the late 80s, 1987 graduate. Thrilled to be back working with the Wire students in the journalism program after a long career in sports journalism around the country, USA Today, Yahoo Sports among my stops, Golf Magazine, Golf Week as well. But getting the chance to come back and work with you students has been fantastic.
And what do you think your favorite job's been in the past?
You know, there's been a lot of them. I mean, I've been a sports editor at 11 different newspapers, but I think, you know, I've had the opportunity at a couple of stops to make some pretty impactful reports. When I was at Yahoo, we did a lot of investigative work that earned a Pulitzer Prize nomination. That was pretty satisfying. You know, some of the local stuff that we've had covering over the years has been impactful as well. A lot of World Series, Final Fours, different national championships, golf championships, a little bit of everything, Olympics. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. And now switching sides a little bit, Marquette devastatingly lost a celebrated alum of its graduate school on September 3rd. Marquette Now's Timothy Leteau reflects on journalist safety.
Jeff Gehrman, one of Las Vegas's most decorated reporters, killed at 69 years old.
It was not like in the act of reporting. Like he was not on scene. He wasn't at where a riot broke out or where civil war was taking place. This was around his home. Like this is him just living his life, not as a reporter at the time.
The Las Vegas Review-Journal investigative reporter stabbed to death, and the suspect, one that he was covering on the Las Vegas political stage, Robert Tellis. Mortality was often on Gehrman's mind because of death threats.
He believed in what he was doing, and I'm sure he knew there were risks involved.
He did, and so did his colleagues.
He had to be in constant worry that somebody was going to come to his home, and that's unfortunately was the tragic conclusion to his life. He was constantly being threatened by various people, credibly enough that the Las Vegas Sun would hire private protection for Jeff. He was intrepid enough to keep moving forward, even in spite of threats. He was unearthing and uncovering a lot of things that people didn't intend for the public to see, but they needed to be shown.
A truly free press is not possible when journalists' safety or their lives are on the line. That is the ultimate cut line. I'm Timothy Leteau, Marquette Wire News.
Obviously, this is super devastating news. What was your initial thoughts and feelings after hearing about his murder?
I mean, just a shocking story, right? For us as journalists to see yet again another journalist in peril just for doing their job. In this case, the suspect being, the subject of a story he was working on and a government official. Just really speaks to the issue that we have and the responsibility that we continue to have to protect our journalists in our society.
Do you think that we should be advocating more for journalist safety nowadays? Not just journalists, but people just out in the community as well?
Well, I think the bottom line is we're doing a job to try to shed light on issues that matter to the public and who we cover. And to be able to do that effectively, you have to be protected from a safety standpoint. This isn't the first time this issue has raised its head. Obviously, we've dealt with it with another Marquette alum, James Foley, previously. And it's just really disconcerting to know that in doing our jobs and trying to protect the public, we're really putting ourselves in harm's way.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on Down to the Wire tonight. I'm going to throw it back to Emily and Katie in Studio 6.
That's our report for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Katie Munson.
And I'm Emily Sacco. Remember to check marquettewire.org for all the latest campus news. Good night, Marquette.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Every day,
Millions of people are connecting. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor. It's time we take a step forward, come together,